Welcome to Mask Off with Meek. Yes, it's Tuesday again, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys. So, tonight we're going to be talking about love. Love, 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 love. Everybody loves love. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody deserves to be loved, right? However, sometimes I feel that we are living in lust, right? So, my question to you tonight is, are you living in love or are you living in lust? So buckle up, let's get into it. So, we've all been guilty of being in a lustful situationship before, right? I don't care if you were a teenager, in high school, college, as a young adult, as a person that has been divorced, right? And you're looking for love, right? And sometimes we look for love in all the wrong places. And we all have to be honest and say we've all been guilty of, really just getting caught up in, the attraction of a person, right? So let's talk about lust. So the first point I want to bring to you, and this is going to be signs or ways you can tell if you're living in lust or love. The first sign for lust is going to be physical. You are so attracted to this person, right? You are just infatuated by the looks of this person, right? Their personality. Oh, this person's a vibe. They're funny. They're a boss. He's handsome. Oh, she's fine. All these things that attract us to people for all the wrong reasons, right? But it's all physical. It's all physical. You're caught up in how good they are in bed. And you can't move past that, right? So physical is going to be a sign that you are living in lust. Okay, let's move on. What about your conversations? If your conversations are shallow and you can't think of a time that you've been able to hold a real intellectual conversation with this person, and it's always just having a good time, right? And there's no substance to the conversation, that's a good sign that you are living in lust and not in love, okay? This person is not someone that you feel comfortable being vulnerable with. You wouldn't dare share your deepest secret with them, right? You wouldn't even want to get into family ties and connections and past traumas and hurts and what your triggers are and, all these things that are very important when you're getting to know someone. And if you're in love with somebody, you want them to know those important pieces of yourself. So if you don't feel comfortable with this person to share those things, that is a good indication that you are living in lust and not in love. Okay. Another one is if you're addicted to the high. You are addicted to just having a good time, going out to eat, going to the movies, traveling, doing all this fun stuff, which is nothing wrong with that. But you are just such on a high of this person that you haven't even came down to reality to see that you guys are not even compatible, right? You're just enjoying. Now, this one's pretty important, I think, for women and men. You fall too fast. Every year, you done went through 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bays. Okay? You have crowned so many kings on social media that I cannot keep up with how many times you have renamed a queen or a king, right? That is a sign that, I'm living in lust. Maybe I'm not meant for one person. Maybe I'm not meant to be in love. Maybe I'm just a lustful person and I enjoy my options, right? These are things that we have to be honest and open and transparent with ourselves about what it is that we really truly desire, right? Because if you're moving so fast, right, and you're always with someone, you never really take time to get to know yourself, right? To embrace, in between relationships or marriages, then that's probably a sign that you're living in lust. You're moving way too fast. Please slow down, okay? Another one is that you don't feel fulfilled. Again, after all of that, you don't feel fulfilled, and that's why you're going from bedroom to bedroom, woman to woman, man to man, and you still don't feel fulfilled, right? After that high comes down, as I said earlier, There's nothing there. There's no substance there. It's like a cake, right? You have a cake. And if you have a very little bit of cake and a lot of icing, what's going to happen? You're going to get sick. You're going to get sick. Why? Because too much sweetness, too much icing is not good for your digestive system. So having someone that's super fine and sexy, they may check off everything on your list, but they have a lot of red flags, and hey, this is not a good fit for you, and you continue to try to eat on that, guess what? You're going to get sick. So you want somebody with some cake, some substance, right? Not just icing, but you need some cake to make it balanced, because if you have a lot of icing and no cake, it's going to be a problem at some point, right? And you're going to find yourself Cupid shuffling to another woman, Cupid shuffling to another man, right? And that's just not healthy for anybody, right? So those are the things that I want you to think about when you're thinking about, am I living in lust or am I living in love? So let me ask you this question. If you were to take away sex, the person that you're involved with, the person you have on your radar, if you were to take away the intimacy, if you were to take away how fine they are, could you see yourself still with that person? If you were sick, or if you were in trouble, is this someone that you can have as your emergency contact? Is this someone you trust with your debit card? Right? Is this someone you trust with the key to your home? Like, these are questions, these are real life questions we should be asking ourselves when we're pursuing someone or being pursued, right? And when we're really evaluating someone we've been involved with for some time, am I in love or am I in lust? So let's flip the script. Let's talk about love, because sometimes love is quiet, right? It doesn't give as much recognition as it should. But let's talk about love, because love is so important. It is so beautiful when you're loved the right way. And so when you're thinking about, am I in love? Here are some things I want you to think about in order to be able to tell, am I in love? Okay, so let's get into love. When we're talking about love and knowing the difference if you're living in love or lust, the one thing I think that is super important to be able to really, truly know if you're in love is, do you feel emotionally safe with this person? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like you're heard? Do you feel like you're seen when you're with this person? Can you be vulnerable with this person? Can you let them know your deepest secret? Can you let them in on your flaws, right? No matter what they are. Are you able to be just an open book with this person? That's going to be super important when you're thinking, am I in love? Because if you're not, you're definitely not going to want to share that piece of you, right? You're going to keep that private. But when you get to a point where you can share these things that you wouldn't share with anybody else, I feel like that is a true indication that you are in love, right? Number 2, you care about their well-being. No matter how it inconveniences you, you are willing to put yourself on the back burner to make sure that you're making them happy and that you're showing up for them daily. It doesn't matter how tired you are, how busy you are. You make sure you let that person know that, hey, I'm here. I want to be a part of your world, and there's nothing I won't do for you. That is an important piece of knowing if you're in love or if you are being loved, right? You're patient with them, not just passionate with them, but you're patient with them. You give the relationship time to grow. You understand that you have to start off as friends, right? In order for something to grow, especially when you're thinking about, exclusiveness, engagement, marriage, things like that, you have to think about, I want to marry my best friend. I want my partner to be my best friend, right? Because you're going to be with this person so much. You want to make sure that you truly enjoy being in this person's company. So you're patient with them. You understand that you're going to have some good days, some bad days. You're not going to always agree, right? You may have some fallouts where you go in your corner, I go in mine. But at some point, we're going to both be the bigger person and we're going to say, hey, let's have a conversation, right? Because you don't want to lose this person. Because if you're truly in love, you're not going to be so quick to throw away what you've taken the time to build. Who does that? Right? And so it's important that you are passionate, not just passionate, but you're patient with your partner. So I saved the best for last. This is one that I should have put as number one, but I'm going to put it as last. You are always thinking about that other person. So instead of saying I, me, you're thinking of we, right? Because you cannot imagine your future without them. You're always thinking of plans. How can I plan this for us? This is what we're going to do, babe, right? Those are very good indications that you are in love, or you both are in love, right? You're being loved properly because you can't imagine your life, your day, your year, your journey without this person. And you want to make sure that person knows that you want them to be a part of their world, right? And they make you comfortable in their world, right? You communicate with your person and you want them to be in the know, in the loop of, hey, babe, this is our goal. This is our plan, right? What is your input on this? I want to make sure this is just not about me, but it's about us, and we're together. We're planning our future. So I think that is so amazing when you are in love, right? And so if you find yourself in lust, based on the things I've said, based on the things you know that wasn't mentioned tonight, you have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself these questions, right? Can you imagine your life without this person? If the answer is no, I can't imagine my life without you, then baby girl, baby boy, you are probably in love, right? So I want you to take this conversation that we had tonight and just be honest in your relationships, right? Not only be honest, be considerate. Be considerate, be thoughtful, mindful of your person, right? Because sometimes what we think is right in our eyes, but it doesn't change the way that other person feels. And we want to make sure we're loving them the way they want to be loved and they deserve to be loved, right? And it's not about just you, but it's about making each other happy, continuing on in your journey, making sure you're loving each other the right way. So I love you guys. If no one's told you, I appreciate you for joining Mask Off with Meek. Until next time, let's live in love and not in lust.